problem of his career. Injuries didn't just interrupt Anthony Davis's seasons, they shaped how his greatness was viewed. From early on in his NBA tenure, he has dealt with a constant accumulation of physical setbacks. Ankle sprains, knee soreness, shoulder injuries, back tightness, finger fractures, foot issues, frequency that became damaging. Davis would look like the best two-way big man in basketball for long stretches, dominating defensively.
What the fuck is this? 55-foot injuries, 24 ankles. Wait. Nah. Dead ass? What the fuck are we doing with this nigga, yo? It's no fucking way. Niggas in the war room saw this nigga injury record and was like, yeah, fuck it. We gonna take him.
Davis would look like the best two-way big man in basketball.
Kaminga got it the fuck out of there. He gone. Any other sports shit? We got a game on today. Not really too much going on. Fuck it. We getting into the reaction. Cause I don't know.
Anthony Davis is still one of the best.
Anthony Davis. Fuck this nigga, man. Matter of fact, I'm fucking sick. I'm fucking sick of this nigga, bro.
Anthony Davis is still one of the best players in the league when healthy.
I'm sick of this bitch ass nigga, yo. Bro, bro, I've never been pissed at a player in the NBA besides motherfucking AD. Like, it don't matter what that nigga do. That nigga's gonna be injured regardless, bro. Like, it don't even fucking matter. He don't even gotta do nothing. Nigga went in the paint. Nigga drove in the paint. His hand was right there. Now he out for... This nigga's out for 6 motherfucking weeks, bro. For his hand. This nigga can't stay healthy for shit. And the Mavs need him. So it's like, why the fuck do we even have this nigga, bro? This nigga don't even play. This nigga just wasting all our fucking time and money getting rehabbed and all these surgeries and shit. Man, get him the fuck out of here, bro. Send that nigga to Wizards, bro. Get that nigga with Trae Young or some shit, man. Cause this shit played the fuck out, bro. I was so high on AD when he first got to the league, bro.
Both ends of the floor. And by all accounts, he's a great teammate. And not to mention, he's one of the best representations of the NBA still in the league currently. But I can't help but wonder what he could have grown into had these things not consistently gotten in the way. Because when you look at his skill set, he should be in the conversation of one of the greatest of all time. The Tim Duncans, the Dirk Nowitzkis, the Kevin Garnetts, the Karl Malones, the Charles Barkley. And he is one of the all-time greats, don't get me wrong. But for these reasons, he could have been even better. What happened? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Anthony Davis is a 6'10" power forward center from Chicago, Illinois, whose rise began with one of the most unusual developmental paths in modern basketball. Early in high school, he stood around 6'1" and played guard before a massive growth spurt pushed him to close to 7 feet.
That nigga was from Chicago with this soft shit.
That late growth allowed him to retain guard-like coordination, ball skills, and footwork while developing elite defensive instincts around the rim. At Perspectives Charter School, he led his team to a Chicago Public League title, won a state championship, and emerged as one of the top prospects in the country, earning McDonald's All-American honors. Davis took his talents to the University of Kentucky for the 2011-12 season and immediately became the most impactful player in college basketball. He averaged 14.2 points, 10.4 rebounds, and an NCAA leading
Greenville, goddamn.
4.7 blocks per game, anchoring an historically dominant defense. His presence altered entire game plans as opponents avoided the paint altogether. Davis won nearly every major award available, including National Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Final Four Most Outstanding Player, while
if it wasn't for Braun, he wouldn't have got shit.
Leading Kentucky to a national championship with a 38-2 record.
Really?
Entering the 2012 NBA draft, Davis was viewed as a franchise-altering prospect, a rare two-way big with generational defensive upside, elite mobility, and the potential to anchor a championship-level team for the next decade. He was selected first overall by the New Orleans Hornets with expectations as high as any big man prospect since Tim Duncan.
He almost did his
thing. Number one, the body never let the talent breathe. The moment that sparked this story felt almost routine. During a game against Utah, Anthony Davis was defending Lauri Markkanen on the perimeter when a light-hand collision occurred. Nothing violent, nothing unusual, but Davis immediately went down in visible pain, clutching his hand, and eventually left the game. Reports later indicated that he had suffered a ligament injury in his hand, an issue expected to sideline him for an extended stretch. It was another reminder that with Davis, even minor contact can lead to major consequences. That moment perfectly encapsulates the central problem of his career. Injuries didn't just interrupt Anthony Davis's seasons, they shaped how his greatness was viewed. From early on in his NBA tenure, he has dealt with a constant accumulation of physical setbacks. Ankle sprains, knee soreness, shoulder injuries, back tightness, finger fractures, foot issues, and repeated lower back problems that forced him in and out of lineups. Rarely was it one catastrophic injury that permanently robbed him of athleticism. Instead, it was the frequency that became damaging. Davis would look like the best two-way big man in basketball for long stretches, dominating defensively.
What the fuck is this? 55-foot injuries, 24 ankles. Wait. Nah. Dead ass? What the fuck are we doing with this nigga, yo? It's no fucking way niggas in the war room saw this nigga injury record and was like, yeah, fuck it, we gonna take him.
Davis would look like the best two-way big man in basketball for long stretches, dominating defensively, scoring efficiently, and controlling games, only to miss time, return on minutes restriction, or play through visible discomfort. That stop-start cycle prevented his dominance from ever fully compounding.
I know I keep pausing it, but yo, for a second, bro, AD was legit one of the niggas that was in the league. He don't lift weights, body weak as fuck. It's crazy because he was bigger. He's way bigger than he came in as, because he definitely came in light in the ass. But now I don't really know what it is, bro. I guess it's just so many injuries. I don't know, man, because he's bigger than he was before. But you probably right. Nigga probably doing bad exercises and shit. Look at Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard ain't that nigga. Well, he did have injury. His back. But that was the only one though. That nigga was durable. He was durable, bro.
Visible discomfort. That stop-start cycle prevented his dominance from ever fully compounding.
But nah, AD was one of the niggas in the league, bro, that had one of the best. All right, I look at AD as like a. I look at AD and Jason Tatum. Like Jason Tatum's like the last of the young niggas that was taught by the OGs. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not saying in the part of like I'm not saying nothing dealing with his work ethic or his resume. I'm just saying like how he came up in the game, playing for USA when he was a jit, playing for like getting coached by Kobe and trained by certain niggas in the league. Like that's how AD was, bro. AD was one of the niggas that was surrounded, bro. Like all my life, this nigga was a high schooler playing USA basketball, bro. At the time where Kobe was on the team. So this nigga got Kobe, Kyrie, all these super elite ass athletes, bro. That was the time with Blake Griffin and shit. With D'Angelo Russell was like, look at his head though, or some shit like that. I don't know. Anyway, that's what AD and D'Lo was on the same team. But I just feel like I don't know, bro. I feel like AD had it blessed, man. The injury just fucked him up.
And when you're evaluating all-time greatness, availability isn't a side note, it's foundational. Sustained health is what allows great players to stack elite seasons and turn peaks into legacies. This pattern hurt most during his prime. In New Orleans, just as Davis reached the age where franchise stars typically define long-term dominance, his seasons were frequently shortened. Even after moving to Los Angeles and winning a championship in 2020, a run that showcased exactly what a healthy Anthony Davis could be, injuries quickly returned to the forefront. Instead,
the reason why they won that championship because niggas ain't want hoop. if the Heat want to hoop, if the Clippers want to hoop, them niggas really wouldn't have did shit.
Building on that
They ain't
momentum,
two
the following
trailblazers, too.
seasons
Like,
were
niggas was
again
hooping,
marked
bro.
by
Bubble niggas was
uncertainty.
hooping, bro. They just got
Injuries
lucky,
repeatedly
gang.
turned what could have been sustained control into
And
isolated
then Kobe
moments.
died
The
during that
talent was
time, so it
undeniable.
really was like
His
some
body
funny
simply
shit.
never allowed it to breathe long
I
enough
don't
to
know,
become
bro. I
permanent.
forever kind of look
And
sideways
this is where
at
the
that ring.
conversation changes, because when a player's body won't cooperate, everything else becomes secondary. Stunt number 2, leadership and franchise identity. For Anthony Davis, the issue was never effort, professionalism, or commitment. By all accounts, he's a respected teammate, coachable, and easy to play with. But when discussing why his career never fully reached the highest historical tier his talent suggested,
goddamn.
leadership, specifically becoming the clear face of the franchise, matters. In New Orleans, Davis was clearly the best player, yet the Pelicans never developed a strong identity around him. Despite elite production on both ends, the team lacked a consistent culture, voice, or edge that reflected its star.
Like that.
Playoff appearances were rare, and when they did occur,
nigga.
they felt more like brief interruptions than the
He
start
big
of
as
something
shit,
sustainable.
though.
Davis dominated games, but the franchise never truly felt molded in his image. That distinction is important when evaluating all-time great big
nigga.
men. Players like Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and Dirk Nowitzki didn't just perform. They defined how their teams played, competed, and were perceived. Their presence dictated tone, accountability, and long-term direction.
Damn,
With
public
Davis,
trade
that imprint
toxic
never fully
situation.
formed. Whether by personality or circumstance, leadership responsibilities were often shared, deferred, or left undefined. That pattern became more pronounced after his move to Los Angeles. Joining the Lakers immediately placed Davis alongside LeBron James, one of the more dominant leadership figures the league has ever seen. The hierarchy was clear from day one. While that dynamic helped deliver a championship in 2020, it also solidified Davis's role as an elite complement rather than the franchise's emotional or cultural center. He thrived as a co-star, but the team was never his. This isn't a critique of desire or toughness, it's a reality of legacy. The greatest players don't just accumulate accolades, they carry organizations. Davis's leadership style was quieter, more adaptable, and less demanding of the spotlight. That approach worked in winning contexts, but it limited how history would remember him.
That's all
and
that
that gap matters when
Look at Nico. Nico was Kobe manager, huh?
but it limited how history would remember.
Look at that nigga, bro. That shit crazy how time work. Bro, that's fucking crazy. Nigga Nico been fucking with Kobe. Obviously, he was his agent. Then he looking at AD like, man, he didn't even know he was gonna be a fucking like GM of a team. This is crazy how the league work relationships, bro.
Remember him, and that gap matters when
how the fuck
separating
did he end
greatness
up
from
here?
immortality.
Like Trey Young. Nigga
Stunt
who
number
drafted
3,
Trey Young
too
is
good at everything, but
on the
not
Wizards
known for
now,
one thing.
working for the Wizards.
For Anthony Davis, his biggest strength may
He
have
said,
quietly
"Fuck that, I'm
worked
going
against
without
how
him."
his career is remembered. He could do almost everything on the basketball court. He could protect the rim, switch on a guard,
shit outta
score
here.
inside, hit mid-range shots, and run the floor like a wing. Very few big men in NBA history have ever had that kind of complete skill set. Something perfect for the era he was in. But when you look at the greatest big men ever, most of them are remembered for one main thing. Tim Duncan was consistency and leadership. Kevin Garnett was defense and intensity. Dirk Nowitzki was shooting and offensive skill. When people talk about them, there's an instant image that comes to mind. With Anthony Davis, that image is hard to lock in, other than consistently being injured. Part of that comes from the position debate that followed him his entire career. At center, Davis was at his most dominant. He controlled the paint, anchored defenses, and looked like the best defensive player in the league. But he never fully embraced playing center full-time. That choice made sense for longevity, but it also split his identity. He was most dangerous at the 5, yet most comfortable avoiding it. Because of that, Davis was always adjusting instead of imposing. He fit into systems perfectly, but rarely became the system. He wasn't forced to carry a single role night after night, and while that helped teams win, it made his legacy harder to define. Being able to do everything usually helps players, but at the very top, dominance matters more than flexibility. Anthony Davis was elite in many areas, but never boxed into one lane long enough to own it historically. His game was adaptable instead of demanding, and while that made him one of the best players of his era, it kept him from being remembered as the kind of player who completely changed how the game was played. All in all, this isn't a story about failure. Anthony Davis is an all-time
Shit.
great, and that's not up for debate. When you look at his skill set, two-way
y'all
dominance,
niggas tripping,
versatility,
bro. Y'all
defensive
niggas
impact, it's
tripping,
clear he
bro.
had the tools to be mentioned with the very best big men the game has ever seen. But careers aren't judged on what could have happened, they're judged on what happened. Injuries kept interrupting momentum, leadership was never fully his to own, and his versatility, while elite, never
The Pelicans
solidified
was
into
his to
one
own,
defining
nigga.
legacy. That doesn't make his career
Who the fuck was
disappointing.
over there?
It makes it complicated.
Rondo?
Anthony Davis gave us
Boogie?
greatness and flashes and
Come on,
reminded us how
man.
great his skill and his talent really was. And in the end, he'll be remembered as one of the greatest of his generation, just not one who defined it like many expected. Salute, much respect, but for these reasons, his growth, even though I hesitate to say it, was stunning. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. I'm out.
This shit weird seeing that nigga face on that bitch though. I ain't even gonna hold you.